Music and entertainment are critical in everyone's well-being. It can actually change your mood, and that's what we're looking for, is that opportunity to embrace that. Noteworthy is a talk show where I get to have conversations with some of my favorite people. I get to find out what drives them and what is their passion. These are their noteworthy stories.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Women Have Needs Too. Women have needs too. Right now, I need to not miss the boat. Right, Lea Tran?
Yes, that's right.
We're here today with Lea Tran, and Lea Tran has a book called I Did Not Miss the Boat. You've heard that, famous saying, don't miss the boat, or did you miss the boat? Well, Lea did not miss the boat. So what is this about? I did not miss the boat. Because sometimes I feel like I did miss some boats.
Yeah.
But there's other boats that are a good thing that I did miss.
Well, there's many boats in life. And I think one of the most fortunate boats that I did not miss was the boat that get us out of Vietnam. Mm-hmm. We were escaping from the communists. And that was in 1979. And it's the boats that give me so many more opportunities that I am yearning for every boat. I don't want to miss any boat, mentally, figuratively, and physically.
It's right. And there, I can't even imagine, but I do want to expand on that experience, because to me, it's an experience that I hope I never have to go through. And it's an experience that I think a lot of people today can't even appreciate, because we learned about it in history books, but you actually lived it.
Yes.
And I do want to talk about that. And there are many people who make excuses for why they can't do something.
Right.
But when you go through something like you went through and you survive it, and you have gone on to do many great things. But so let's talk about your background. So you are Chinese by birth, correct?
Yes, I am a Chinese descent and still Chinese. I've never even know what China was look like in my parents' hometown, my grandparents' hometown, until about 3 years ago. My husband and I went to China as a tour.
For the first time?
As a tourist, yes, for the first time. But that's why it's really difficult, because I had a lot of identity crisis when I came to America.
How old were you when you came?
16. When I got to America, I was 17. But when we left Vietnam, I was 16. And so in name that we would know as Vietnamese refugee, boat people, back then, there's massive exodus of Vietnamese that left Vietnam.
We had to get out of there in order to live, right?
In order to have any kind of freedom.
Right.
Because we were constrained, we were choked
were
with
you prisoners?
Economic. Well, not quite.
Okay.
But you can feel like it. I mean, it's like citizen that you have no right to your ownership of your livelihood, your build-up. Communism, they can take anything they want. You are not allowed to say things. You are not allowed to, there's so many things that we were taken away from
freedoms
being
taken away.
In the South Democratic for many years. And then 1975, the North just took over. So it literally choked all its citizens.
How did you go from China to Vietnam?
It's in my book. So
You just gave it to me, so I haven't read it yet.
I
But
know.
I'm going to. I can't
know.
wait to read it.
It's from my grandparent who also migrated from China to Vietnam.
How old
by
were you?
boat. No, I wasn't even born. My
Oh, you
dad.
weren't even
my
born
dad
yet.
was 3 years old.
Why did your dad was 3 when he got to Vietnam?
Yes.
Why did they go from China to Vietnam?
Just like they're looking for opportunity. They didn't want to miss the boat in life either. So
Because China was communist, and so they went to Vietnam for freedom.
I think they left before communist China.
Okay.
I think famines are hard to survive, and
Okay.
people just migrate. And Vietnam was a colony of China.
And it's a beautiful
at one point.
place.
It is. And so that was the history that I did not really know a lot until I write the book. And I'm kind of research and asking my mom little bits and pieces, but whatever I know about the history of my grandparent, my great-grandparent, is in that book. And it sums up about maybe 3 pages because that's how much I know about them.
Right.
And my dad passed away a long time ago, so I don't even have a chance to ask him. So I missed that boat.
Yeah.
So there's so many things in life that we don't want to miss because it's just going to pass us by.
Yes.
And so the boats got a lot of meaning to me, literally and figuratively. And that's why I want to live a life that I'm not missing any moment, missing things that I'm going to regret it on later.
So how tragic was your life when you were in Vietnam at 16?
I don't know the word tragic. Tragic is it's in the reference of frame, right? I mean, in your mind of reference. I mean, to me, it was hard, but I think to my parents, it's so much harder to watch their children have no future.
Right.
No worthy education. To me, it was I feel like a lot of labor, physical, because we then couldn't have a maid. We used to have a maid in our home. And maid it sounds luxury, but it's not in Vietnam. I mean, it's like if you a middle income family,
You had a maid.
You have a maid. I mean, a family with 5 kids in the home.
You need a maid.
You need a maid, yeah. But because I was
Or a psychologist.
Right. I am the oldest, so as soon as they couldn't get rid of the maid, I take care of the stuff like the maid did. So I just felt like physically I have to do a lot more because I'm the
poor
oldest.
thing has to
I
do
know,
chores.
Yeah, but for that, I learned a lot more than my sibling.
That's right.
And I feel like I have more connection to my roots than my younger sibling because there's a gap there too. It's almost 6 years old from me to my next brother.
Yeah.
So I felt like I'm a second mom to all of them.
Right. Right. And so when can we talk about the boat experience?
Absolutely. The boat experience, we were lucky. We were so lucky. We only got 1 try and we succeed.
Wow.
Many people.
Where did you go? You went from Vietnam to.
We were in the Saigon, which is in the city. So we have to take a trip pretending that we are going to new economic zone to farm, to, we sold our house.
So you lied?
We lied because you can't go anywhere without a permit.
Okay.
So we have to have a permit. You have to have a reason and say that, we're going to go to the farmland and we're going to become farmers. So what we did is we went all the way to the tip of Vietnam, the very south tip of Vietnam.
In the direction where you were supposed to go.
In the direction to the sea, yes. So my dad have organized a big major organization a year prior to build the boat. He built the boat, not him build the boat, but he organized. He's a project manager, and he spent a whole year to organize this trip with 502 people on that boat. And
that's a big boat.
No, the boat is only 28 meter long, 8 meter
and
wide.
500 people fit on the boat?
502 people fit onto that boat. So there's 3 decks.
3 decks, okay.
Yeah, so it's a lower deck. And we stack like sardine, just like people are sitting next to each other. And we sail out to the sea with no destination, no plan, just hoping that someone out there will rescue us. And that's the hope. So by the second days, we get pirates. We
By
got
who?
pirated by fishermen mostly. They're Thai people. They're in the fish, out in the international water. They know there's a lot of refugees coming out
trying to get free.
When you go, you sell everything, and you pack a lot of whatever
Food.
We pack food, but we take a lot of jewelry and gold because
To trade for your freedom?
to come out for survival. I mean,
Right.
it's like that's your possession. That's all
Right.
you have besides some clothes. You don't want to take money because money is useless to any other country, right? So everything was traded into gold. So they know there's a lot of gold in any of the refugee boats. So we got pirated 4 times in the course of 3 days. So with 7 days together out in the sea,
Guns.
we were guns and very type of weapon like screwdrivers. I mean, there's a kid 12 years old had a screwdriver and trying to harass me. And they can strip search you, they can beat you up, they can slap you. And it's a small handful of them, but they're men and they have weapons. So there's a lot of kids and a lot of
But there's
women.
500 of you.
Exactly. We can't do things because we have a lot of elders, women, children, and we're packed. We can't even have room to walk around. How can we fight back? So we just give in. We just let them do whatever they want to do. And they just want money. They just want gold.
And then
just
they
want
would
jewelry.
move on.
They would storm in, search everything, and then storm out. And then the next day, a different group. So, yeah, we were completely being injured over, and the 6th day, the boat engines was broken.
Oh my gosh.
We had no more water or food because they have rampage. They have torn out everything to search for gold. So they dumped all the food, they dumped all the water. So we were thirsty. We were hungry. We were tired. We were seasick. We were vomiting on top of each other, and it was horrible. And then the 7th day, we thought we were going to be done. The boat just dripped aimlessly in the water because we have no compass.
And you didn't know where you were going?
No. They tossed away the compass. The boat
The
engines
pirates
broken.
tossed
Yes,
it away?
they tossed everything away. They would just ransack, and they just look for gold, and they just toss everything away. And we thought we were going to die, and a miracle happens. We got rescued by an oil rig. They didn't rescue us. They saw us, and then they came out, and they evaluated. It's like, oh, my God, these are refugees. So they put hoses of water for us to drink, and they give us crackers and, some dry food. And we were grateful, and they gave us a compass and pointed us to the nearest refugee camp, which is in Indonesia.
Oh, my goodness.
And the refugee camp was just a remote island. It's non-inhabited. People just, refugee just kind of like got there, and the Indonesian government took them in. And we were there for 7.5 months.
And so how did you end up in the U.S.?
Well, a Lutheran church in Minnesota sponsored us.
You're
in a small
kidding.
town.
How did they find you in Indonesia?
Well, there's a movement back then. There's a lot of,
Okay.
people that talk a lot about boat people refugees.
Mm-hmm.
And Lutheran Church is one of the biggest churches that have a lot of
Outreach.
outreach program, and they sponsor us. And we were in Minnesota, this little town, no more than 700 people, and they sponsor our family, and they took us in, and they care for us, and they took care of us. And
What a beautiful thing. So you're
Yeah.
16. You end up in what? Minnesota?
Minnesota.
You end up in Minnesota.
Minnesota, from Vietnam, hot tropical weather to January 3rd, 1980, in
Oh
the
my
middle of the
gosh.
night. we
And
got
it's
to
freezing
Minnesota.
up there.
It was probably minus 20 or something at the time.
And snowing, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it's the first time we saw snow.
So you had to get clothes and everything in
well,
order to
yeah, our
survive.
sponsor did that all for us. I mean,
For over 500 people.
Oh, no. They just sponsor my family.
Oh.
7 people.
Oh, it's just the 7.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
the 500 people, I don't know what happened to them. Like, once we get to the refugee
You
camp,
totally
everybody's
lost contact
dispersed.
with all of them.
Yeah, everybody, have their own way. We don't, I mean, lots of them maybe have relative in different country. They settle in all different places. Some probably go to Australia, some in Denmark, some in Germany, some in the United States, some in Canada.
Wow.
And the island was got over like 20-some thousand people, refugee that's from Vietnam. Even more, I think.
Say that again?
Over 20,000 people at the time in refugee camp.
That's crazy.
In that particular camp. But there's many more. There's
Many
hundreds
more.
of thousands of people who
Right.
escape out in Vietnam.
Right. The other people who did not miss the boat, right?
Right. And there's people that have tried 3, 5, 7 times and get caught and go to jail and come back and do it again. And a lot of times you can't trust people. You don't know who actually have a boat. A lot of people say, oh, yeah, my brother-in-law, who and who will have a boat, just give us some money and we'll take you there. And
Right.
it's virtually no boat there.
Right. They just want the money.
Right. So that's what I say, that we were so lucky. Only one shot and we succeed, even though we got 4 times pirated. And I still think that was a really miracle session because
It sounds like a miracle.
many people actually get out and perish out in the sea. They sunk. The whole
It's hot
boat.
out there.
Yes.
And then you run out of food, or the
the-
pirates take your food and they take all your
or
jewelry.
you got a hole in the boat and the boat sink. I've known
yeah.
a lot of people that my neighbors, my
And the
dad's
weather.
friends. Yeah, sometimes. So you gotta very carefully plan where is not stormy weather because your little tiny speck of that boat in that big vast ocean could easily be it's a death sentence that we said
It
that
is.
we know
It
what
is.
we're getting.
But you
we're
would
getting
rather
out
do
anyway.
that and run the risk.
We did that, so I have today.
Yeah. It's
My
beautiful.
parent did all of that, so we can have like what
Freedom.
I have this moment
Freedom.
right now. Yes.
Freedom.
Yeah.
And freedom is underrated. Freedom is underrated. So you come to Minnesota at the age of 16.
17 by that time.
So it took almost a year.
Yeah,
Once you were in the
over 8
refugee
months,
camp
yeah.
and then got sponsored and all that good stuff. So then you get to Minnesota, 17. How much schooling had you had by then in Vietnam?
That's why my books got more than just the cultural shock and I come out, but because I'm going to spill it right here instead of you reading the book. So my parent bumped down my age for 4 years. They took I had another sister who passed away when she was 4 years old.
Oh.
So when we left Vietnam, my parents thought that it would be less money for me to register at 12 years old
Instead
because
of
it will be a half price instead of, usually you charge 16 nugget of gold for an adult, and 12 years and younger, you have half price. So first of all, he thought that he's going to do a favor because you've saved him 8 ounces of gold,
Yeah.
right? And he thought that I would get more chance to study English instead of coming here at 17 and being rushed out to the working force.
So you had to pretend like you were 12.
So I was to have to leave at a 13 years old life when I come as a 17. So I've got a lot of internal conflict, identity crisis, being a Vietnamese, Chinese. My age was not matching with who I am.
Right.
I'm pretty much an old soul to begin with.
Right.
So I mature before my age. And now I have to bump down. So I was surrounded in the environment that I felt like I'm a whole generation of high school that is older. So it's really hard for me. And then between the language and the cultures and the responsibilities so
How did you adapt to all that?
I just
Did you adapt?
closed my eyes and did it. And the thing is, like, I did it, but I wasn't feeling good about it. I
Yeah.
feel a lot of guilt, shame.
Right.
I feel
Pain.
lots of pain, a lot of resentments, a lot of things that I could not share because, it's a secret.
Because you were living a lie.
It's a secret, yeah.
Yeah.
it's a lie that you're trying to mask it, and you're just trying to move on.
Right.
And so everything is just a blow. I didn't feel like I'm mix well with my crowd. I always feel like I'm the outsiders.
Right.
I always feel like I'm the one who's standing outside looking in,
Yeah.
instead of the insider. It took me a while. It took me until I'm done college and I'm be adult in the adult world. Then
Then you could do what you.
right. Then the age is not that much of a discrepancy anymore.
Did you
know.
ever get your birth certificate fixed?
Not yet. I'm still like 4 years behind. So I don't know what the step. If anybody knows how to fix my age, I would love to do it.
Do we know what to do on your birthday cake?
Well, you know what? For the longest time, I did not celebrate my real age until I decide that I'm going to step out and, be myself and be
So
happy.
does it really matter what's on your
It
birth
doesn't really
certificate?
matter. People
Yeah.
who loves me, and my husband who knows me from the get-go how old I am, because
Yeah.
I don't lie to him. And
Right.
my close circle, people who knows how old I am. But the thing is,
You know.
you don't want to explain to everyone, because your paper is one thing, and then you're gonna have to sit and tell them your life story. So I just pretend that's my age.
Exactly.
But I tell my doctor every time I go to exam, I say, I'm 4 years older. So make sure that you know that.
Yes, because I'm healthier. I'm in good shape for my age.
But I feel a lot better when I be able to just pour it out. I don't have to keep it anymore, and the book is a great therapy for me, and things that I can just be.
It's amazing.
myself.
Writing a book is such great therapy. I started a book. I'm about 5 chapters in, and it's amazing.
It's a lot of work.
It is a
but-
lot of work, but it's good work. It's
Yeah.
good. And I always said, if it changes one life,
Yeah,
then, and you know what? And if it's just my life that it
Right.
changes,
right.
then
Well,
it's a
first it
success.
will transform your life.
It does.
Because you feel a lot lighter.
Yeah.
It's like no more, not even secret, no more things to just, you feel like you need to hold on. You just,
Right.
you
Let
just
it
let
out.
it out.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, people would come to you and say, oh, I'm so glad. I needed to hear this today. I needed
Yeah.
to be more encouraged. I needed to be able to do what I want to do instead of concealing all those feelings.
Yes.
So
And you
I
do
tell
have
people,
to,
don't
it's
miss that boat.
liberating.
Yes.
It's liberating
It is.
to let go of those things, and we're gonna fast forward because we need to close. But I really wanted to bring up the fact that you got a college education, you became a scientist.
I was a research chemist.
A
and
research
I
chemist.
synthesized and identified potential compound to treat AIDS, to treat thrombins, to treat a couple other diseases, but mostly AIDS. So I
Something
was
that you would have never been able to accomplish in Vietnam.
Exactly. I would
And-
be a housewife. Nothing wrong with that, but I probably would not do anything else besides just care for my children.
And did you enjoy
Which
your
is-
work?
Yes, I enjoy all my work. I want to say that it really opened my mind a lot more when I'm able to just step out of the fear of being who I am.
That's a huge message, Lee. That's a huge message. There people who harbor those inner feelings and the lies that they live, and whether it's by choice or by not.
Yeah.
In your case, it was not by your choice, and it really makes me want to cry, because you, as a young woman, young girl, had to harbor those lies for a long time. I mean, and technically,
Yeah, and feel like I love the thing that your title. Women have needs too. Everybody has needs.
everybody does.
Everybody has needs, and I think that the only needs that we can find ourselves is we're not living truly with ourselves. And if you have
Say
the
that
courage,
again?
if you are not truly living who you are, that is the refusing of the needs that you mostly need. And I think life is just too short. I don't I come to the point that I realize I didn't miss that physical boat, but in spirit, I've kind of like missing boats because I was not able to let myself live a life that I'm proudly to claim of it. It's like there's no shame, no guilt to be a wife, a housewife, an immigrant, a refugees, a person that will come from a different background. I mean, all of that constructing us, the unique us. And if we're not living that us live the way that we should live, then we're missing the boat.
We're missing the boat.
We're missing life. We're missing out the most beautiful things that who we should be proud and say that that's who I am. I mean, it doesn't matter how dysfunctional my family, and I'm sure everybody think their family is dysfunctional, right? Everybody
99% of them probably.
Everybody think their background is shameful or horrible. Or everybody think that they don't have enough. But truly, we have more than we can comprehend if we actually stand up and embrace all the flaws, all the good and the bad part that makes
we
us
learn
up.
from those flaws. I mean, we have to accept them and grow from them.
Exactly.
You
can't grow unless you embrace whatever you have first. And I think,
let's face it, none of us are perfect, right?
Exactly.
Zero. There are zero.
And you should be proud, because I don't think if anybody say that I'm perfect, you should trust that person.
Isn't that the truth? Well, I just, I'm in awe of your story and
thank you.
all that you have overcome in your life, and you live life with joy, and you live life with purpose, and you have been able to live with that and unharness all that you were stifled in your early life, and you have thrived. You have thrived.
Well,
by the way, you do have a show called From Surviving to Thriving.
And it's a thriving conversation that I love to engage. And
how do people watch Striving to Thriving?
It's on the Facebook page. It's called From Surviving to Thriving, a thriving conversation. And we interview people who had a story. Any story, sad, happy, and how do you thrive from what you were given? And thank you for being there with us. And
it was so fun.
I interviewed you for, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, a few weeks ago. It was fun.
And it was good to be able to connect with men's and women, all different background, and sharing with us how they thrive. And that's what we want. We want encouragement. We want hopeful story. We want things that make people, inspire people to move forward and to do more and to be more.
Yes.
So, it's on Facebook. So if you look for the Facebook page, and if you have a story that you want to share, it's very casual conversation, just like we're having now.
I love it. And how do people find your book?
They can go into leatran.com, LEATRAN.com. And in that Facebook, on that website, they can also find my TEDx talk, which I give a more thorough about my story, how we escaped Vietnam, and a little message in there. So I hope you check it out and enjoy it.
Thank you so much for being here today, Lee.
Thank you. I hope this will inspire somebody to tell their story, to break that silence.
I hope so too. Yeah. Everybody has a story, and most of them need to be heard.
Yeah. And
it's just a reminder today that women have needs too. And right now, I need to not miss the boat. Whatever that boat is for you, it can be a real thing or it can be figurative.
And don't miss the boat of all the time that we have extra now during COVID.
Yeah.
To thrive, to do personal developments or
personal
anything.
Development, to grow each day.
Yes,
to grow
absolutely.
Each day.
Well, thank you for having me here today.
Absolutely, Lee. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great day and stay inspired. Don't.
Music and entertainment are critical in everyone's well-being. It can actually change your mood, and that's what we're looking for, is that opportunity to embrace that. Noteworthy is a talk show where I get to have conversations with some of my favorite people. I get to find out what drives them and what is their passion. These are their noteworthy stories.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Women Have Needs Too TV by Linda Q. Women do have needs. Women have needs too. Right now, I need to not miss the boat. Today, we're here with Lea Tran, and she wrote the book, I Did Not Miss the Boat. Lea, thank you so much for being here today. So what is this book all about?
Well, thank you for having me here,
Thanks,
Linda.
ladies. That's perfect.
All right.
You're awesome.